Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news out of Six Flags Great America, where this weekend they've posted another teaser video. Now, Danny, the last video we were talking about water slides and water parks, and I think some things have changed. And Danny, we are not people that fall in love with our own ideas here. No, we adjust.
Never
do we fall in love. We like our ideas a lot, but we don't fall in love with them. So we'll move on. Unlike the Chicago Bulls, who would fall in love with their players, we're ready to move on from the water park. I don't think it's going to be a water park expansion, Danny. I think we're talking roller coaster. And one of the reasons why is this video, I said, you know what? Some people posted some interesting facts. They said, well, maybe the 1000 could be talking about an S&S launch coaster. There's one out in China called the Oct Thrust 1000. S&S newer coasters out there. I said, okay, well, that fits the 1000. Some people said that it has to do with acceleration of how fast the thing accelerates to getting to top speed, and that could be talking about the 2 seconds that it took for them to get down the water slide. I'm like, okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but they're still working things together. But here, Danny, this was the one piece that really sold me on this being a roller coaster, and that's in this new video. And it's a new piece of information where they call the main character Max.
Yeah.
Now, Danny, we know, we've talked about this already, that Max Force is one of the two names, or the three names that Six Flags has trademarked. Other ones being West Coast Racers, which we talked about in the Magic Mountain show.
Magic Mountain.
Could fit there. And then Adrenaline Alley would be the area at the midway at Magic Mountain as well. So Max Force, them calling him Max, I don't know, Danny. You're not going to call a water coaster Max Force.
No.
It doesn't fit very well. So I think we're looking at a roller coaster here. So that was tip one in this video.
Well, we originally thought that perhaps that those two names had been trademarked for Magic Mountain because we didn't know which one they would maybe be going with, but it seems like they may actually use both of them.
That they could be using both of them. So in this video, he starts running in right outside of Hurricane Harbor's exit over by the Viper entrance. He runs through Southwest Territory, and then right when he gets to about Demon's Corkscrew, they have a sign up that says 175 yards to go. Now, Danny, I tried to convert this into feet. You're talking about like 525 feet, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, could that be a stat that they're talking about? And I just couldn't come up with anything. Like, we looked at, the length of track for a launch, and Dragster's track is probably right around that, probably about between 400 and 500 feet. I don't think we're looking at something that's significant here, although we could be, I don't know. But so what I did is I typed into Google, I put a location marker onto Google Maps of where I think they were standing when they posted that sign, like right by Demon's Corkscrew, and then tried to see where 175 yards would take me. And Danny, when you do that, it takes you to generally about the area of where the old adventure course used to be. That they used to have this thing that kids could go on with wires, and they would do like climbing and all this other stuff.
It's like a ropes course type of thing?
Like a ropes course type of thing. It's been empty for the last few seasons.
Okay.
It's right next to Demon. They do a lot of haunt stuff in there right now for the whole year, where there's like a permanent haunt display of like big stuff that they use to get people excited for haunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this 500 or this 175 yards stops. If you do it on Google Maps and you put in the two locations and you do like a walk between the two of them, it's right around there.
Okay.
So Danny, I don't know. Am I thinking could you start a station there? Could you start the ride there and shoot it over Whizzer out to the Pictorium and then back? Like, that's like you're going to need quite a bit of space for a launch if this is indeed a launch coaster. I personally don't like the station there, but then I can't wrap my brain around why would they put the 175 yards to go unless we're going to get another clue and they're going to be standing there.
So it was 175 yards to go from where they were standing?
From where they were standing. So I assume that would be like the start of something there. But the problem is you would have to go over the Southwest Territory entrance, that how you get to the back of the park. You'd have to go over that. You'd have to go over Whizzer to get to what we think they're using in the Pictorium spot.
Well, and I would think that, if anything, it makes more sense to have the station and queue area where the Pictorium is, because there's more room there. But then why would you be getting – where does that location that you're led to with the 175 yards to go, where does that come into play? Is that maybe a significant part of the ride? I don't know. Maybe that's where you reach your max force. I don't know.
Well, the thing is like there's not a whole lot of area over there. I know I said that that's an open area, but it's kind of small. You have where they put they relocate the lobster right next to that area last year. They spent a whole lot of money, a whole lot of time on doing that. So I don't see them moving that again. Some people have suggested that maybe they're removing Demon. I know Marcus Lashak said that they would remove, that there's a possibility that they would remove Demon to do a little bit more stuff.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about a very significant ride, a more significant ride than I think Six Flags has traditionally done the last few years. Like,
this to me has like a full throttle type thing written all over it.
Well, yeah, but if you look at that Octhrust 1000, like you have a major launch at the beginning, and then you have a whole, a lot of coaster maneuvers at the end of it. So like it's not just like a one and done launch coaster. Like I feel like Full Throttle is like a gimmick launch, and I feel like if they do this SNS launch, it would be more of a launch with real elements at the back end of it.
Yeah.
Just this area, if you look at it, you're talking about almost the same area being used as what Viper uses, or a little bit longer than what Goliath uses. Man, I don't know, but people have said that there are markings over, by the Hometown Fun Machine, making this a little bit bigger. I just thought that they would use that general area of the Pictorium, right next to Whizzer. There's a whole lot of land. For them to go all the way to the, to this open area seems unlikely, but then maybe we're overreading it too. Maybe there's a next clue that's going to take us to the next area that gets us back to this Pictorium area. So right now, I'm going to say it's probably a roller coaster. I would not be surprised if it's an SNS coaster, although I don't think that's a certainty at this point.
Yeah, I'm watching this Octhrust coaster here again, just to kind of.
And I feel like we're still talking about the Pictorium area extended into right behind Whizzer. In that area, you do have the train, but coasters go over trains all the time. Like that's nothing that would be, I think, a hindrance here. But to get it all the way to, if you look at the map, the totally kicking chicken, I think it's a stretch, and I would be shocked if they were able to get it all the way there. But if it does get all the way there, Danny, we are talking about something bigger than I probably would have ever guessed for Six Flags Great America. I've always said they need that signature steel coaster. Goliath was a fine addition. X-Flight was a fine addition. I'm not a huge Raging Bull fan. I think if they got a major launch coaster that does a lot of maneuvers after the launch, I think that could be a real winner for Six Flags Great America. And I would also like to point out that in a year where the storyline has been empty parks all over the place, Great America has not experienced that at all. Every time I've been there, the place is busy. Packed. I know people from Chicago who have gone up there. They've talked about how the place has been packed. So this is one of the parks that has not been hit by the attendance bug that so many other parks have been hit by this year. So I could totally see them spending more money. And the reason why I didn't think Coaster at the beginning was because they got X-Flight, then they got Goliath, then they got Justice League, then they got Joker and the Larson Loop. Like they've been investing a ton of money into this park over the last 5 or 6 years here.
They have, but if people are going to the park and attendance is doing well, I mean, then you would keep doing it, right? I mean, that's the logical move.
that's a logical move. The other thing I should note is that this curvy sign that they use for this video is also very curvy. Like just almost, it almost looks like how the route you would have to take to get to this area. So it just interesting tidbits. But I think we're gonna have to wait for the next teaser to find out what happens, to see if this area is the ultimate location of something, or if they're gonna move us further into Hometown Square and then maybe up to the Pictorium. So I think we're onto something though here.
One more thought here.
Yeah.
One more thought, because I'm looking at Six Flags Great America and this Happy Valley Wuhan, which is where this Ock Thrust is.
Uh-huh.
If you look, you could probably get this, something similar to this Ock Thrust ride, maybe around Whizzer, if you started it at the Pictorium, and you could maybe get it around Whizzer if you took out, oh boy, see, that becomes tough. I don't know if you would.
I don't think they're going to clone it. Like, I would assume a custom layout here.
Yeah, I would think, but that ride is not as big as you think it is.
No, I know it's not. It's not as big, and it's not as big as what this area would suggest if this is the area. But if you look at the Pictorium and then right behind Whizzer, I think that's more than enough area to put that ride in.
Yeah, you could do something more compact. And, I mean, who's to say that you couldn't maybe go over to where, like, Raging Bull's tunnel is? Like, you could probably get something in and around there, too.
Yeah.
Probably not out of the question, because that's the entrance to the water park right there as well, too, right?
Well, and that's been the
Viper.
other theory, too, is that maybe they're going to do a better entrance to the water park up at the front of the park, because that entrance to Hurricane Harbor is kind of buried back there in Southwest Territory, and then you got to do this whole long walk to actually get into the water park.
Yeah, you could maybe relocate that, and then
you would relocate that up by the Pictorium where that was, and have, okay, right when you enter the park, you split off to go to Hurricane Harbor.
Right off to the right of the Columbia Carousel there,
Exactly.
and then you can use that pathway.
Yeah, and then you would have a coast. So if you start the coaster, if the station was more down towards Demon, then you could do the turnaround and all that stuff and have people walking into the water park and see all that turnaround stuff.
Yeah, I like that better.
I just don't know how you physically get it, because the launch, you're going to have to go over a lot of stuff, and launches, you don't traditionally walk under launches. Dragster, you do. So I guess you do. So what the hell? You do walk under launches, I guess.
Well,
like, yeah, you walk under a lot of launches now that I start thinking about it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated. We're looking forward to the next video to see what ultimately happens here at Six Flags Great America. So as always, I am Andy Robarczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
See you guys.